Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Howdy, Red O'Loughlin here. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, regardless of where you are in the world. The USA Global TV and Radio Network is truly a worldwide broadcast. Today on The Wise Ones, I'm honored to have Jim Bobo, last name B-O-B-O, kind of an unusual name, but Jim Bobo. I've known Jim for quite a number of years, well before COVID. We would find each other at various networking events throughout the Houston area. And Jim is in my perspective, an amazing business owner, but I love his knowledge of nutrition. And we're going to get a chance to explore a number of different aspects of Jim. So with that, right now, let's go ahead and ask Jim to join the studio, and we'll just begin with Jim. Introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Jim Bobo. I was born in 1954. I started a copier business in 1980 called Copier Sales and Service. I incorporated in 1994. I can't say that I was really highly successful, but I did the business for 38 years, and then I sold it in 2019 to a larger company that used my company as kind of infrastructure, and most of the clients went to them. I had a 3-year non-compete, so I was not able to sell copiers or do service for 3 years. They paid me in full. I realized that perhaps I should have stuck with it, but I am interested in a lot of different things. Like you know, I started a business called Alternative Health Solutions way back about 20 years ago. And, you know, I have not really done much with that, but I am a member of some network marketing companies, one of which is called Neumi, N-E-U-M-I, Neumi.com. And then my website is Neumi.com/Cystine, C-Y-S-T-I-N-E. So I'm kind of eclectic. I do a lot of different things. I can't say that I've been a highly successful businessman. I can tell you 1,000 different mistakes I've made. And perhaps one of them is that I should be concentrating on one thing. And that one thing that really took a hold of me after meeting Dr. Gutman about 1998 was a substance in our cells called glutathione. It's interesting to hear what Dr. Oz has to say about glutathione. He says the most important antioxidant you've never heard of. So I think, you know, the preponderance of what we might talk about right now is glutathione, because it really captured my imagination. It had a huge impact on my health, and that's pretty much why I started Alternative Health Solutions. And you know, as an aside, I would like to say that network marketing to me is a perfect business. And the gentleman that began the company called Neumi, his name is Stephen K. Scott. He has hired many movie stars to sell his products on TV, spent millions and millions on TV ads. But now he's the head of a network marketing company based in Salt Lake City, right at the bottom of Little Cottonwood Canyon. I used to ski at Snowbird and Alta, and we would drive up Little Cottonwood Canyon a couple times a week to go skiing. So the city is Sandy, Utah. It's right at the bottom of Little Cottonwood Canyon. Stephen Scott hired Christy Brinkley and Chuck Norris to sell his product called the Total Gym, and you've probably heard of that. Millions and millions were made on this. He's an extremely successful businessman, and he's been obsessed with glutathione for probably the last 20, 25 years. I first heard about glutathione in 1998 and met Dr. Gutman. Dr. Gutman, his name is Jimmy Gutman, MD, FACEP is his title. He has written at least 4 or 5 books on glutathione, and I've read most of them. He's a fascinating man. He got to know the researcher, Dr. Gustavo Bunos and Dr. Patricia Kongshaven. They did years of research on this particular product.
Okay, you kind of covered a lot of different areas there. So rather than just kind of shotgun everything out, why don't we just go ahead and take things? We had a brief chat backstage. So I know you're a religious man. You said you wanted to talk very briefly about that. So why don't we start off with your
word religion, Red? I don't use the word religion. I just say that I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I believe he died for my sins. I believe he was buried, rose from the dead, and he intercedes for me. There's one intercessor, there's one redeemer, that's Jesus Christ. Jesus is God incarnate. He submits to the Father. And so as a businessman, I've met hundreds and hundreds of businessmen, successful men. I'm a member of 2 different organizations. One is called Toolbox, and we have a different speaker about once a month who comes and talks about his faith in Jesus Christ. Probably 200 to 300 men show up. I'm a member of another organization called Bible Study Fellowship, where this year we're studying the book of Revelation. So we are all over the Bible and see how Scripture integrates with every book of the Bible, how you really need to read from Genesis to Revelation, and how consistent it is and how accurate. It is a historical book, but it's also a book that allows you to understand your need for a savior and understand your need to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. So we'll talk about business, and we'll talk about morality, and uh, how Jesus makes an effect on my life. I think that the 2 major things is knowing him and making him known. So I definitely wanted to get that in as the primary focus of my life, and then a product that I can believe in and promote in order to enhance life, enhance longevity, enhance health.
Okay, so let's go down another area of focus. You've been an athlete most of your life. You've had some issues back and forth, which nutritionally, you've seen a great deal of success. And I understand now you're managing rather than being actively involved. So tell us a little bit about your athletic endeavors over time and what you're doing right now.
Okay, just real quick, I started skiing, snow skiing in 1960. It's all I thought about was snow skiing. I was wild about it, and I started taking lessons. Uh, I think I got better as a skier when I moved to Utah. I took ski instruction lessons, and then I was able to teach skiing for the University of Utah. We had a program there, so skiing was big. I injured myself in high school just playing basketball after school, and I messed up my left knee. So I've had 4 knee operations, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. There's another nutritional supplement that I don't market yet, and I'm thinking about marketing it. It's called hyaluronic acid, and so I take that orally. I also get hyaluronic acid injections in my knees once every 6 months or so at Methodist Hospital. So that's worked real well. I now I used to windsurf also, so I haven't given that up, but it's very time consuming, and there's a lot involved in windsurfing. There's a lot of uh, equipment that you have to bring with you and rig up. Not only the sail, but you've got a sail, a mast, a boom. So I used to compete in windsurfing, local races, and then I competed in the U.S. Open windsurfing regatta. I was nothing special. as far as competition. I think I did get one trophy. It was a long distance race trophy for third place. But the fun part of that was getting to know the pros and just trying to get better. I've never been a pro athlete, but you mentioned softball. Softball is pretty much what I do now. Aside from business, every Tuesday and Thursday night we play softball at Harris County Senior Softball in Houston. By the way, where I am right now, I'm in Northern California, talking to Red, my friend, but I'll be leaving in a few days to go back to Houston, and I'm looking forward to Tuesday night, which is our first game of 2025. And I manage the team, but I'm a player. So I pitch, I play left field and shortstop, and then I try to manage the team. So I put the right players in the right positions. And so softball is a big part of my life.
Okay, you've been an entrepreneur since 1980. You've had a chance to be through various booms and busts over time. With your particular business, you've been exposed to almost every business out there, because everybody at some point in time between 80 and 90, before the home printer really became in vogue, your business was there to support everyone. So let me ask you a question. What are two things that you learned that, had you been better trained or skilled at, may have made a major difference in your business development and growth?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, from a human aspect, not faith in God, but because faith in God is primary. But the big thing is to have an assistant that knows you, that knows the business, that knows your clients, and is able to remind you of things that happen, and do the really nitpicky little things. Because I'm the big picture kind of guy. With my copier business, it was really important to have a good accountant, uh, and someone that really ran the office, an office manager. And my organizational skills are lacking, and I know that. So I guess that would be the primary thing, is to have an assistant or someone that comes alongside you and does what you can't do, or does a better job of that.
How would
And then of course, organization too, is getting to know the computer, getting to know how to use it. And I'm still learning.
Okay, so from an organizational perspective, what would you suggest to people to become better organizers in their business? Is there one or two
Well,
things?
don't do what I do. I'm very reliant on paper. So to me, a piece of paper is almost like a picture of a computer screen at an instant in time, and it's got information on it. And I refer to pieces of paper a lot. I mean, I've got paper right here. I've got Numi's bullet points, and we haven't even talked about Numi yet, about glutathione. But I'm reading down here. I'm reading all these bullet points, and it all came from my head, from what I'd heard, from what I'd learned from Dr. Gutman, what I learned from Stephen Scott. And oh, by the way, on my website, numi.com/cysteine, you go on that website and you click about, and Stephen Scott's 17-minute video will be on that. Yes, that's right. So if you go down to about, on the top, it says about, and a picture of Stephen Scott will come up, I believe. Medical. There we go. And if you scroll down, I think his video will be there. He talks about glutathione and the importance of glutathione. I know it's 17 minutes, but it's well worth your time to listen to this. There's Ryan Scott, his son. We have about 12 medical doctors on the advisory board, 2 PhDs, 2 chiropractors, and a few other medical professionals. These people endorse Numi without compensation. Now, what is Numi?
Well,
Should
I'm
we
going to
talk
get
about
down
that,
to that
Red?
one. I'm going to get down to that one here in just a minute. I want to finish up your entrepreneurial world a little bit first, because we've talked a little about your spirituality, a little bit about your athleticism and interest in sports. We just entered into the entrepreneurial career, but I know you through networking, and you've been in a lot of different. You mentioned one here with the toolbox. I've been to a couple of those myself here in the Houston area. So, how do you network, and what? Because that's really where the rubber meets the road when you're going out and trying to not only meet people but establish your credibility with another person about the product or service you offer. So, what's been your experience with networking, and what really works for you?
Well, that's a great question, because on the last 3 years, I've been involved in a couple of networking groups. One is Bel Air Business Association, Bel Air, Texas, which is a small city inside of Houston. And that's been great. You get to know people. Any networking group, I have been to 1 or 2 BNI meetings. It's a great organization, but I'm not a member. In Toolbox, you get to know people, get to meet people. The February issue of my magazine, called West University Neighbors, featured a family that I met at Toolbox, the Bro family, Breau. So with that magazine, I'm constantly looking for families that want to be on the cover and want to share their story.
Okay, so you went from the business of copying into selling that business. COVID happened. You've been networking. You have your own interest in health and wellness, and we're going to get into that topic very, very quickly. But
Okay.
you're
And now
now
I'm a
doing,
publisher.
but I want to get into the publishing end of things now, because it's another entrepreneurial field, and I just wanted to let people know that you have a very diverse background, and we're going to go into the publishing aspect now as a business and what you're doing. But then I want to spend a little bit of time on nutrition, which I know is a real passion of yours and mine also. So your publishing business, how did that happen, and how is it growing, and how are you helping people?
Well, some publishers are extremely successful, and I wouldn't consider, I'm on my 19th issue of West University Neighbors. I still have a long way to go. My job is to find businesses that want to support and sponsor the magazine. So that's a challenge. My latest customer is a family law attorney, and she's highly successful at what she does. She wanted to target that little community, West University. We have about 17 of these in Houston, and over 1,300 in North America, including Canada. So this is an extremely successful company. They train you every day. There's a conference call, and we have digital training on Fridays. West University homes that the magazine goes to, 3,254 homes. And so my job is to sort of get to know the people. West University has its own city government, and so I've gotten to know a few people there, and then businesses that want to target that area. And if they don't want to target West University, we have down where you live in First Colony, we've got River Oaks, Tanglewood, Energy Corridor, Cinco Ranch, Town and Country, Kingwood, Friendswood. Kima is a really great magazine. Tony does that magazine. He's the publisher there. So I have colleagues. Some of them are extremely successful. I don't feel like I've arrived yet. I mean, by any means, but I'm trying. And it's a new venture for me. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done, to tell you the truth. Harder than learning windsurfing, which windsurfing is rocket science. It's not that easy. It's not like sailing a sailboat, because your body is involved. But publishing a magazine, oh man, there's so many moving parts, Red. But I'm learning at 70.
Okay, so you're continuing to learn. That's great. And the networking is continuing to evolve, and that's great. But one of the things that we need to evolve ourselves is our health. And most of that is the foods, the choices we have in order to have our bodies either make what we need or to make sure that we get them from the sources that we have. So I know that we have had discussions in the past over glutathione as the master antioxidant. I've voice my opinion that I think there's one or two others out there that are good competitors. And with that, I want to just touch on the fact that glutathione just doesn't happen naturally in the body. You can't just take a pill for glutathione. So you have to provide the body with the right resources in order for the body to make glutathione. That is something that most of us don't understand. Okay, what is it? What does it do? Take a brief moment and tell us about glutathione and what the benefits are in the body and how it actually happens to be created.
Okay, well, let's talk about the necessity of glutathione. It's needed by every cell of the body for many, many reasons. One big reason is the immune system. The lymphocytes, in order to clone themselves, need glutathione. Anything that's happening in the body is happening because of oxygen. And it takes oxygen almost as a fuel for things to happen. Energy, for instance, the mitochondria need oxygen to produce ATP, the energy molecule. And the natural occurrence that happens is the oxidation of certain, substances. Oxidation is oxygen taking an electron, and that's what oxidation is. Electron movement, and which is another thing, that electron movement is energy. But when a substance becomes oxidized, it lacks an electron. And a good example of that would be, well, in your brain, cholesterol. Your brain is cholesterol and fat and protein and electrons and water. And when fat gets oxidized, when cholesterol gets oxidized, it becomes sticky and it becomes almost like a radical. And where glutathione peroxidase can donate that electron and prevent the oxidation of cholesterol. It's the oxidation of cholesterol that's dangerous, as you probably well know. Lymphocytes need glutathione to fuel their what's called monoclonal expansion. That just means your immune system works better, and all the macrophages, the neutrophils, the natural killer cells, the T cells, they have to have glutathione in order to work. People get sick. I used to get colds and chest infections all the time. That's incredibly rare. I just don't get sick. Detoxification. Glutathione it conjugates toxins. It removes them through the liver, through the urine, and it's necessary in the liver. The liver is loaded with glutathione. We talked about energy and mitochondria, cell health, brain cells, kidney cells, liver cells. Every cell in the body must have glutathione to protect itself. And you mentioned other antioxidants, superoxide dismutase and catalase, but glutathione is the master antioxidant. Now, going into the history of glutathione for me was taking a product called Immunical, and I think I can show you a packet of Immunical. This I mix with orange juice. I used to mix it with carob flavor that I got at Whole Foods, and they stopped making it for some reason. So I use orange juice, or you could use water. This is about 10 grams of whey protein. It is undenatured whey protein, and this is the product I started taking 26 years ago. I found that I benefited because my allergies have subsided to a great degree, and I wasn't getting these chest infections that I usually got. It was an amazing thing that happened within 3 months. And then muscle recovery. Haven't even talked about that, but that's important. Glutathione. This particular whey protein is necessary for metabolism, but also muscle production. I haven't even really answered your question yet.
Okay,
but just gotten into the basics.
Okay, so the glutathione does all these things, but you have to have other things in order for the body to make it. What foods are the most beneficial for creating glutathione?
Yeah, great question. So the whey protein comes from milk. It is raw milk. It is not denatured, which means it's not cut down by mechanical processing, which is what they homogenize milk by passing it through a screen. That's not good. Raw milk contains glutathione precursors, but you'd have to drink 10 or 20 gallons a day to really be of a huge benefit. So I drink raw milk. Raw milk is fantastic. These proteins are not broken down, and they're not broken down by heat, which is pasteurization. So pasteurization and homogenization destroys these milk proteins. It also messes up the fat molecules by making them too tiny. That's not good. So the 3 amino acids, glycine, glutamic acid, and cysteine, those have to come together in the cells to produce glutathione. Now, let's just jump over to Numi. So we talked about Immunical, but I'm going to talk about Numi, which is Stephen Scott's invention, or his baby. This is his baby. They have 4 products now. One is a skin product, one is a product for women called hers, and then they have another product called Neuro for the brain. These 2 products are all about glutathione, but there are some other things like alpha lipoic acid and L-cysteine, which is a component of glutathione, and a few other things, aspartic acid, and there's vitamin C actually in the product too. Here's the key about Numi. I want you to take note of this. Nobody has anything like this. It is structured water that acts as an envelope to encase glutathione precursors and glutathione in a nano form. So let's get our minds wrapped around nano. Your human eye can see about 30 or 40 microns. There are 1,000 nanometers in a micron. You cannot see a nanometer. You can see about 30 or 40 microns. So they have figured a way to nano-size glutathione without destroying it, so that it will enter the body sublingually, and they call it swish. So it's called NutraSwish, and that's how it enters the body, through the tongue. It's amazing. With Neuro, it's flavored with mango and peach, and I think this is fascinating. If you took this product to a lab, and it has a slight sweet taste along with mango and peach, but a lab would not be able to find mango or peach or sugar in the product. It would be undetectable, but your tongue can detect it. So you can taste the mango and peach flavor of Neuro. It blows my mind. NutraSwitch has a very slight taste. It tastes like water, but it's a little bit of a sulfur taste, tiny little bit. Your tongue can actually detect that. And what is sulfur? Sulfur is a component of glutathione. Sulfur is one of the things that makes glutathione so incredible. And that's going back to God. God designed all this. God designed the glutathione molecule. He spoke it into being like he spoke us into being. And our cells depend upon glutathione. Of course, vitamin C is important, but vitamin C works with glutathione. Glutathione is actually able to rejuvenate itself, and it doesn't become a free radical. Vitamin C, when it donates its electron, it becomes a free radical. And that's a huge difference. Glutathione doesn't become a radical when it gets oxidized. And it's able to come back into its natural form of L-gamma glutamal L-cystenyl glycine.
Okay, for those who may not know, a free radical is a molecule that's had an electron ripped away from it. It's very active, it's very destructive. If left unchecked, our bodies end up in oxidative stress. A lot of problems happen down the road from a disease perspective. So the glutathione is one of those very rare molecules that has a regenerative ability. Vitamin C, you mentioned, can actually be regenerated with the help of glutathione 6 times before it's finished its job. One of the ones I mentioned to you in the past, PQQ, that regenerates itself 25,000 times over its life, but it's only in the brain. And that's when we've had conversations about as to what is the real master antioxidant in the body. But lately I've been really studying red light and near infrared because that near infrared penetrates our skull, gets into the spinal fluid, gets into our bloodstreams, goes to every cell in the body. And it actually super energizes glutathione and its ability to do its job. It's like a big brother sitting there saying, okay, next, okay. It's almost like the master's master to me. But again, it's your show, and I'm not going to go away from your part on that.
Well, Red, I know we're going down a rabbit trail, but may I plug one of my clients? And I don't think people understand how beneficial red light is. This customer of mine, and I don't make anything by endorsing them, but they advertised in my magazine. And the company is called iCryo. It's somewhere around 3800 Bel Air Boulevard. And it's a franchise, so I'm sure you can find an iCryo where you are. Well, here's what they do. Cryo is cryotherapy. So one of the things they do is that you go into this cryo chamber for 2.5 or 3 minutes. It's extremely cold. Then they have sauna, which I usually spend about 40 minutes in the sauna trying to bake out my toxins. And they have a red light bed, and it is comfortable. You lay in it, and red light comes from below and above and the sides. It's an amazing thing, and you feel great when you come out of there. It's probably about 8 or 10 minutes, something like that. You lay in there. But I did not know that it could actually enhance glutathione production in the cells. So you just taught me something that I didn't know.
Yeah, the near infrared frequency, particularly up around 800, is you have red light, which is in the 600s. The near infrared is in the 800s. They both have amazing health benefits to them. But the near infrared, when it penetrates into the skull and gets into the spinal fluid, is the one that actually gets to the cells. You get about 2,000 mitochondrial in each cell in our body. But that melatonin that's created as a result of that infrared energy that penetrates into us is the real support of that cellular health. When the mitochondria start having problems, and we can go into another discussion way down the road on that and DNA mutations, but whatever. But keeping with the main thought process that you have right now focused on glutathione, every little bit of that outdoor activity that you're at, it's going to penetrate our clothes, our skin, our hair, and get into our bodies. The infrared energy. UV energy gives us, over time, burnt skin, maybe increases our risk. But the glutathione is going to benefit immensely just from us being outside 20, 30 minutes a day, whether we're walking, going to the playing sports. That glutathione is something that's actually being enhanced by the melatonin that's created in our cells. So
my question to you is does the light from the sun actually penetrate cloud cover and enter our bodies that way?
Yeah, we're getting that frequency from the light. And so that is there. So you need the precursors of glutathione that you mentioned earlier, your glutamate and glycine and cysteine, in order to get the right amount of stuff that our bodies can produce it. But once it's there, if you want to hyper energize it, then a little bit of sunshine is going to be of immense value to you.
Well, this is what I was told 24 years ago by Dr. Gutman, and he's right. But I do want to dovetail into Numi. This blows my mind. So we're talking about the precursors. In our diet, we get glycine and glutamic acid pretty regularly, but cysteine is extremely rare, and that's what's found with Immunocal in the whey protein, loaded with cysteine, and it's not broken down by heat and mechanical processing. So that blew my mind that this could actually raise glutathione, and my experience bore that out with fewer chest infections and mitigation of allergies. Now, Numi, on the other hand, 12 medical doctors endorse it. This is in 72 countries now, and he has nano-sized glutathione so it can enter sublingually. That blows my mind, and it's encased in structured water. Nobody has anything like this. So if Numi can raise glutathione, we know that Immunocal can. There's like 70 or 80 research articles and PubMed studies on this, and studies that specifically use the precursor amino acids to make glutathione. But he has bypassed that necessity and actually nano-sized glutathione. like I said, Red, it blows my mind. And I've been using Numi for about almost 2 years now, and I market it.
Okay, we're getting toward the end of the show. How do people get Numi? How do people get in your news magazine? How do people get in touch with you?
Okay, so I put my phone number there, 281-235-7008. Feel free to call me or text me. Text me would be better, that way I can call you right back. Just tell me who you are. Cysteine.com, you said there's a problem with it. I have to call Network Solutions and find out why it's not uh, transferring over to the other site. But if you want to get to the Numi site, go to numi.com/cysteine, Cystine. And by the way, there's two spellings of cysteine. One is cysteine, Cystine, which is my website, or cysteine, which is a single amino acid, L-cysteine, with an E-I-N-E at the end. So cysteine is the dipeptide, and I just decided to name my website that. But again, you got it exactly right on the screen. numi.com/cysteine. That way I get credit for it, and I'm very happy to answer questions if you want to call me or email me cysteine1@yahoo.com. If you want to advertise in my magazine, let me know.
Okay, so
we have, like I said, we have about 1,300 magazines nationwide and in Canada, and I know for sure I can sell into about 47 of them in Southeast Texas area, Central and Southeast Texas, all the way up to Fredericksburg.
Okay, so for our audio audience, website is Numi, N-E-U-M-I, Numi, NEUMI.com/cysteine, CYSTINE. So go to that website. They can be able to contact you directly, or if you'd like to have them contact you by phone, it's best to send you a text at 281-235-7008. Let me repeat, 281-235-7008 for our audio audience. And with that, I am going to say thank you very much for rescuing me today. I appreciate your last minute
Spur
ability.
of the moment. Red, let me
Yes.
tell you what, this was a lot of fun. And thank you for calling me. This was what you called me about an hour ago. And my son set up the computer. These are his headphones. I'm just visiting from Texas, and I'm here in Northern California. But it was a blast talking to you.
Well,
And your
again,
knowledge of glutathione is great. I don't meet people like you every day.
well, thank you so very much. You humbled me. Jim Bobo, thank you very much. I appreciate your time today. If you have any questions at all about glutathione, I think Jim is probably the most knowledgeable person I know. And it's something, as he said, it's needed in every single cell in the body. And it's just amazing molecule that our bodies have to produce from something else. Although with Numi, now you can get it as the whole molecule sublingually. So with that, I am going to now say, have a wonderful new year. Catch you later on, Jim. And I have about a minute left to cover the next show, Talking Heads, on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. We just finished up with Jim Bobo on The Wise Ones. And next week, every week at this time, we have a new guest. Talking Heads has changed its focus a little bit from being a 4 to 6 to 8 week program to being once a week. So I am now concentrating on an individual subject. I changed over 4, 5, 6 weeks ago to what would I do? I have a little bit of knowledge of this, that, and whatever. And so I'm saying, well, what would I do if I had cancer? What would I do if I fill in the blank? And I picked different topics over time. We talked about red light recently, talked about several other topics. But today I'm covering what would I do if I wanted to bulletproof my health? If I wanted to be able to have a body that could withstand aging and other things, what would I do? And that's my topic today. If that is something of interest, please catch me live here in about 20 minutes on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, or go to the YouTube archives for the USA Global TV show. Have fun, enjoy, and Merry Christmas. No more Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Catch you all next week. Bye now.
Have you ever felt unheard? like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. Kerbeck also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacqueline.com or usaglobaltv.com. Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life, one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is the listening mentor. Start your journey today.